Can't believe it's been 2 weeks since we last did this.
I know.
So, welcome to Marvel Time. This is going to be a little chat about what's going on Marvel company wide. Um, we didn't meet last week because there was no new comics coming out, and just sort of the slowness of everything. But there was a new episode of Agents of Shield, which I thought was really good. If you haven't seen it, I haven't seen this week's episode. You have though, but we don't want to talk about it. So we're going to start off with comics, and then we're going to go into some other things. First up, we've got Black Cat, written by Jed MacKay, pencils by Carlos Villa, and cover by J. Scott Campbell. And so, what did you think?
I'm really enjoying this Black Cat series. It's a lot of fun. There's real Ocean's 11 type vibes. It's like a heist movie kind of thing, especially with the way that the heist actually plays out, and then you kind of get those cutbacks to the plan with the team, them formulating the whole plan and everything. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you like Ant-Man, this has, obviously different characters, different scene, but it was definitely you see the heist happening, and you go back to the planning of the heist, so you get an idea of what's happening. I mean, it's a classic trope, but it's a classic trope because it's fun.
Right.
So definitely just a fun issue. Guest stars Tony Stark. So anytime Black Cat gets to take on Tony Stark, that's a blast.
Yeah, that was a cool, different. It's not two characters that you normally see going head to head like that. I do have to point out, Marvel will also use one of their go-to gags, which knocks New Jersey, being somebody from New Jersey, kind of take offense to it, but also they're 100% accurate. So
I hate to break it to you, Mac. I don't know if that's a Marvel thing or just a everyone thing.
That's true. It is an everyone thing too. Yeah.
So, staying in New York, we've got Miles Morales Spider-Man number 17, written by Saladin Ahmed, pencils by Carmen Carnero, and cover by Javier Garron, which I will pop up the cover. But still, you're not quite in Daredevil territory with this, but a little bit more serious.
Yeah, Black Cat was close to being my pick of the week, but instead, Miles Morales was probably my favorite read from this week's issues.
I forgot to mention Black Cat would have been my pick of the week if I had remembered.
Oh, okay, yeah,
yes. And I think the Miles Morales issue is great, and I don't know. It probably would have been a pick of the week on another week, but Black Cat's kind of what I needed right now.
Yeah,
from the comics. Miles, this issue still spins out of Outlawed, where Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, gets injured, and so they kind of do a junior version of the Superhero Registration Act.
Right, exactly.
And it's a great issue, and not a lot of superhero action, but a lot of aspirational things from superheroes, which I thought was really cool.
You're right. Yeah, I pointed out in my review, which is up right now, for this issue, that there are some similarities to Marvel's Civil War, which is my favorite all-time arc. So definitely really like the whole Outlawed angle. It's also the quintessential Spider-Man story. I mean, opens up with him just, helping a little kid who was bullied, and then ends up with him on the wrong side of the law. I mean, it's so Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's as Peter Parker aged and, kind of developed a longer backstory, it's great that you can take Miles Morales, who feels like a Peter Parker. He's different. He's not Peter Parker. But having a younger point of view, which is really what Spider-Man's about, I think has been great. I remember when he got introduced in the Ultimate Universe. Mm-hmm. And while I can debate how there's 1,800 people with spider powers now, right. I think Miles Morales, if you're not gonna have the Ultimate Universe, being able to tell his story, continue his story, has been really cool.
Yeah, I also want to point out this issue ends with a pretty great cliffhanger that definitely left me wanting more. So I'm excited for the next issue.
Yeah, and anytime you can get Dum Dum Dugan,
yes,
I'm happy. So, and next we've got our final issue of the week, kind of as part of the X-Men saga that's going on right now. We got Excalibur #10, written by Tini Howard, pencils by Marcus Toe, and cover by Mahmoud Asrar.
Yeah, Excalibur and like the Captain Britain corner of the Marvel Universe is definitely one I haven't dove into all that much. This issue in particular was very strange. Whenever you get a character with reality warping powers, it's definitely going to be a weird story.
Yeah, when you have to have a graph in the issue to explain what happened. No, I mean, I want to be fair that I'm not super familiar with this part of the Marvel Universe, particularly, since Powers of 10. I'm just starting to get back into X-Men. I thought the characterizations were good. It's just a very heady issue in terms of like what's happening. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
I still feel a connection to the characters, which is really what matters. But it's definitely one where you're going to pull up Wikipedia and be like, what's going on?
Right, especially with one character in particular coming back in this issue, which, I mean, again, with the reality warping powers, who knows what's really happening and what's not. But and I don't want to spoil, for anybody who hasn't read the issue yet, but there's a little bit of a surprise in there.
Okay. So as I said, it's been a week where everyone's been sort of reflecting and not a lot of news coming out, but we did get a look today at Ironman VR coming to PlayStation VR, July 3rd, I believe.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, so the video Marvel released today was more so the story of how the video game developer, which is Camouflage, how they got the project, which was pretty cool. They're a small company, and they just kind of showed you how they put their demo together and really like blew Marvel away with it. And it did also show some new gameplay, some new footage, which it looks like a lot of fun. I'm not the biggest on VR, but like this one really has my attention.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I feel like VR, everyone wanted it to be the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge I've always had with it is it's very hard to have good storytelling in a 360 environment. There's a reason theme parks force you to look a certain way, even in a 360 environment, because it's, you have to, it's hard to have a narrative when there's 18 different things going on.
Right.
So, but that's what I was excited to hear them talk about. Like, it's not just, putz around as Iron Man. There is story to it, because I think that's what we love about Marvel. It's not just the art. It's not just the scope of it. It's the storytelling. And so to me, there's been a lot of VR things like various Star Wars, wield a lightsaber. Well, to me, it's not that exciting to wield a lightsaber in VR, but when you can put a storytelling element on top of it, like Vader Immortal, then it gets in a different sphere for me.
Right, especially with the villain in this story being Ghost. I think that's a cool character that could be explored a whole lot more. So that's fun. Yeah,
I was really surprised and excited about that because, I think the world got introduced to her, on a broader scale in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it's I think that's a good way to go instead of just, sticking it with like more Iron Man or, like the traditional Iron Man video game tropes.
Right.
So, typically at the beginning of May, they do Free Comic Book Day. There was no comic booking in the beginning of May this year. So they've announced that they're going to be releasing the 2 issues that they had planned on releasing for Free Comic Book Day for free. The Free Comic Book Day X-Men title, which leads into their next major X-Men event, and their Spider-Man Venom Free Comic Book Day, which theoretically was supposed to tie into the upcoming Venom movie, which is now pushed off. But what do you know here?
Well, I mean, you pretty much summed it all up right there. Just Free Comic Book Day happening later than it normally would, which, I mean, that's great. We're still getting free comics. Who doesn't love a free comic? Especially, and you guys know if you watched the last time we did this, I'm a huge Venom fan. So anytime you get anything with Venom in it, I'm going to be excited about it.
Yeah, I'm glad they found out a way to make it work. It's nice that it's 2 different weekends. I know 2 different weeks because the comic book stores are really struggling.
Yeah.
Just like everybody is. And so it's nice that, they're finding a way to draw people into comic book stores.
Yeah, absolutely.
Particularly, they're not gotten used to doing it digitally. I mean, there's still something fun about having a physical comic book.
Right.
But, okay. And the Eisners were announced. Um, and obviously there's more divisions of Disney that do comic related storytelling than Marvel. But you had Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Ciccecchio as Best Continuing Series, Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing, Joe Bennett, etc. Best New Series, Doctor Doom by Christopher Cantwell and Salvador LaRocca. Best Writer, G. Willow Wilson, who's among her work is Miss Marvel. Chip Zdarsky, as aforementioned, who did Daredevil as well as Spider-Man Life Story. Best Cover Artist, Julio Totino Tedesco for Daredevil. Best Coloring, Dave Stewart for Silver Surfer, Black, and Spider-Man. And Best Lettering for Clayton Cowles, who's done like everything. So it's good to see. Chip Zdarsky just did a recent sort of conversation. You can find it on Marvel's YouTube with Joe Quesada. Strange bird. And I'll mention to Joe Quesada how Joe Quesada, the chief creative lead at Marvel, has no Eisners, whereas Chip Zdarsky has 2.
So. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't been reading his Daredevil series, and now I'm really excited to check it out. When I was looking through all the nominees, I was like, wow, there's a lot of the series here that like I haven't read. I've been reading different series, and part of me was like disappointed that some of the other ones, like Donny Cates' Venom and stuff like that, didn't receive nominees. But then I realized like I should just be excited. These are a lot of other great series that I wasn't aware I should be reading.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot. It's not like a Emmy where there's like now there's a lot, but there you have to create a TV show. There's all sorts of people making great comics,
right?
So, it's not going to be something where Marvel's going to win 4 nominees in a category. It's not like a soap opera award where there's 3. Yeah. So still for being sort of a mainstream publisher, I think it's a good showing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So finally, some stuff is happening, in the broader MCU that you have here. So, want to give us an update?
Yeah, J.K. Simmons had an interview pretty recently where he discussed his potential future with the MCU, and he kind of spilled the beans that he was actually signed on to do his cameo. Obviously, spoiler alert, I guess if you haven't seen it just yet, but his cameo in Spider-Man Far From Home was supposed to be one of 3, I believe he said. He says to do 2 sequels as well. And he did clarify that deal is like he's committed to do it, but Marvel's not necessarily committed to use him. I can't imagine they wouldn't want to. I know a lot of Marvel fans would be excited to see more of J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. So it was exciting to hear that. Yeah,
it's funny how he's become like the quintessential character. I mean, maybe you could probably say like Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
but, like he is one that has always there's been many Spider-Mans, there's been reboots and all sorts of things, and I remember when he was cast in Ultimate Spider-Man, the show on Disney XD, as J. Jonah Jameson. Like he is J. Jonah Jameson. He is the J. Jonah Jameson. And so when I read comic books, I hear him.
Right.
So I'm glad that he's still around in between State Farm and M&M commercials to be around. And then we talked briefly about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had a brief update.
In a chat that went kind of along with the season premiere, it was a virtual chat with the cast and some of the producers of the show, and they kind of teased that we knew that Daniel Sousa, Agent Sousa from Agent Carter, was going to be coming back in this season already. And they were asked about him and then the potential for seeing some other familiar faces. And the producers said that would be a safe bet. So I'm very excited to see what other characters we might see coming back in future episodes.
Yeah, new episode tonight, which has like one of the best titles ever. I'm going to try and if I can Google it. I don't want to misquote it.
I believe it is called Alien Commies from the Future.
Yeah, I believe that's right. Alien Commies from the Future, which is my ultimate nightmare. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun episode. You should be, get excited to watch this one. this season I've really enjoyed as a whole so far too.
So thanks so much, Mac. We'll be back again in 2 weeks unless events warrant further Marvel discussion. But there's a lot of great issues coming out then, including 2020 Rescue number 2, Captain America Marvel Snapshots number 1, Empire number 0, Immortal Hulk 34, Iron Man 2020 number 4, Spider-Man number 5, Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 3, and Thor number 5. So check out your local comic book store and check out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tonight, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.